Hey class, so right now I'm going over Chapter 2, The Fine Art of Setting Type, and actually I was touching on a lot of the points in this chapter earlier last class, and so hopefully that will help. It's good to have a little bit of repetition for the brain to remember things. So the goals for this chapter are to identify the anatomical parts of the letters. In the book, they're very thorough. They use terms I have never even needed to know, but I was talking about some of them that I find very helpful to know. So next class, I'll just go over kind of like the really important ones. I don't expect you to know all of the terms. I think that understanding the hidden characters like soft returns and hard returns, that is very important. So we're going to go over that. And then also creating spaces between paragraphs the proper way. So never hitting a return twice. For example, you can adjust space in a different way. That's much better. And what Rydberg was saying was that once you turn on, you can see the what do you call them? The hidden characters that show that there's a return. If you turn those on, then any future employer can see if you hit return twice instead of doing the proper spacing techniques for InDesign. So it's important to understand, and it's important to be able to identify the hidden characters so that you can know that you're setting it correctly. Okay, and I know that sounds really abstract, but we'll get to that part soon enough. And then using all the types of paragraph formatting features. We're going to learn about drop caps and raised caps, and like what I was just saying, space before and after paragraphs. Each paragraph, if you want to have paragraphs that are not too tight together, they have a lot of space between them, you can adjust that in a separate option in a little field specifically for spaces before and after paragraphs. So now, like I said, never hit return twice to create space. There's another way that's much more precise. And also, you don't want to tell the computer that there's two paragraphs there when there's really only one paragraph. Okay, anyway, differentiate between hyphens and dashes. I did not know the difference between hyphens and dashes. It's kind of more of like what I would consider English or grammar or something like that, but it's pretty important as a designer to spell check your work. That is the designer's responsibility. I didn't realize that. I've been working at the print shop, and finally, somehow the subject came up that it is our responsibility, not necessarily the printer's responsibility, but as the designer, sometimes we're just printing work as is, and sometimes we're actually creating the design. And in that case, it's very important to do spell checks. As like in the bottom, it goes over proofreading marks because the designer should check whether names are spelled correctly and the times are right and everything, because it affects us in the end. If the invitation we designed had the bride and the groom's name spelled incorrectly, it would definitely reflect upon the designer, regardless of that, if that's how it was sent to us by the mother-in-law or something like that. It's our responsibility to verify, I guess, that is correct. Even though sometimes I think that it's kind of hard to know, for example, things like that, but at least you're supposed to send it back to the client and have them look over it one more time and ask, and then also check the times for the date, etc. Okay, and then calculate ideal line measure. That is a little bit abstract, but important. So we'll go over all these things. And I'm going to be going over the actual projects, starting with Chapter 3A. So here's the different projects. Mystery typefaces, wedding invitation, dessert menu, fine woodworking, production sequence, and reading markup.